PBS: How a Supreme Court Case Redefined Whiteness. Now, if you're on stream, you're probably hearing this for the fifth time, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Man, you know what? I ain't even gonna do that to you because I really don't know what to say. Let's just get into it. How a Supreme Court case redefined whiteness.
Is a high caste Hindu of full Indian blood born in Punjab, India, a white person? This question was asked.
Now, chat. It might seem like a simple question. It might seem even a simpler answer. But somehow, this has been brought to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court of the United States. Now, chat, throughout United States history, the United States hasn't been looked on in a favorable light, all right? We know in these modern times, the United States is portrayed as the police of the world, you know what I'm saying? The protectors of democracy and freedom. But, you know, democracy is a loose term, you know, and can be redefined to mean whatever. Apparently. And so can whiteness. So let's get into
the U.S. Supreme Court in 1923. The plaintiff, Bhagat Singh Thind, was an educated English-speaking Indian immigrant and U.S. Army veteran who had already tried to naturalize twice as a U.S. citizen by arguing that he was white. And that's because at the time, Congress limited naturalization to free white people and those of African ancestry and nativity. So
nativity and nativity. Probably meaning people who, you know, brought here as, you know.
What does this little known but consequential court case tell us about the larger story of white supremacy and citizenship in America?
Chat, and you might blame him, all right? You might blame him and be like, oh, he's whitewashed, he's this, he's that. He's going against his own race. But think about it like this, all right? Back then in the United States, who would you rather be? Black? Because those were the really options. In the United States, things were really black and white. Would you rather be black or white? Black meaning everybody else, and white meaning white people. Who would you rather be? Because I guarantee you, they didn't have lynch mobs for for one of those groups. They didn't have a special set of rules, Jim Crow law for one of those groups. You were better off. I don't blame him. He probably saw all the bullshit happening to black people and was like, now that I think about it, I'm white. Now that I really put my mind to it, I'm white. Now that I think about it, I don't blame him. I really don't, bruh.
On July 4th, 1913,
he was really just trying to fight for human rights, bro. He was really trying to get his basic human rights, right?
20-year-old Bhagat Singh Thind arrived aboard the SS Minnesota to Seattle, Washington. Over 14.5 million immigrants came to the U.S. between 1900 and 1920. Thind was one of 8,000 South Asians who had emigrated to the United States during this period of mass immigration. At the time of Thind's arrival, the U.S. had a population of over 92 million people. So South Asians, on the whole, made up a tiny fraction of the population.
Chat, and I feel like for countries like this, you have to reach a certain level of, you know, foreigner to start being racist. I feel like this number is way too small. The caucasity shouldn't be in play right now. All right, this is this when you reach 5%, that's when the racism should start. But this is an insignificant.
The few Indians who came were primarily from the Punjab region, which at the time was ruled by the British. Most came from rural farming villages and small towns in India, and in the US were consigned to back-breaking work for very little pay.
Damn. They said different place, same shit. Damn, you guys were farmers? You guys came from a terrible situation? Well, Um, hate to be that guy, but it's right behind you. Get to work.
South Asians arrived at a time of rampant anti-Asian hysteria, and Indians quickly became the next iteration of a perceived Asiatic invasion. A 1911 U.S. Immigration Commission even called Indians the least desirable race of immigrants admitted thus far.
And a lot of people like to say, like, when this shit happens, when people vote for immigration policies, the more lenient immigration policies, that it's their white guilt catching up to them. Like, it's it's your white guilt. I feel like when you vote against immigrants, I feel like when you vote against minorities, that's more of a white guilt. You know what I'm saying? Because you're afraid. I would be too. I did all this bullshit to other people, and then more people are coming of a different ethnic group. I'm like, oh shit, karma's a bitch.
6 years later, in 1917, all Indian and most Asian immigration was banned through the creation of a barred Asiatic zone.
Asian immigrants are extremely diverse. They come from many, many different countries throughout Asia. They have different histories, different cultures, different religions, different ethnicities. However, once in the United States, they were more often than not lumped together as Orientals.
Dude, still in the United States. You think you people in the United States actually care, bro? Dude, back in those days, bro, there were 20. The racism was unbelievable. Sometimes they'll not even allow you in if you weren't the right type of white. If you didn't come from the certain European country of their origin.
As an Asiatic invasion. And what this does in the American mind is that it sets...
I wonder how many people back then could actually read that shit. You know what I'm saying? Half of y'all have to work in the coal mines. You ain't even pick up a book once a day in your life. You buying the paper.
South Asians into this already existing framework of Asian immigrants being economic competition, Asian immigrants being unassimilable aliens, Asian immigrants being a threatening horde.
Citizenship was and still is a necessary...
This is 0086 of the population, bro, and that's the horde you're dealing with.
Pathway to social and economic opportunity. Without citizenship, many states barred Asian immigrants from voting, becoming doctors, lawyers, or government workers. They were restricted from owning land and could not protect themselves from deportation. The only way for immigrant men like Tind to become U.S. citizens was to naturalize, which is the process of voluntarily becoming a U.S. citizen, as opposed to being born one. The first federal law on naturalization was the Federal Naturalization Act of 1790, which limited citizenship to free white people. After the Civil War, the Naturalization Act was amended to include aliens of African nativity and persons of African descent, granting citizenship to millions of Black people previously enslaved and living without citizenship rights, although citizenship did not confer equal rights. At the time, there was no comprehensive legal definition of whiteness, but there was legal precedent. Most European immigrants who arrived during the 19th and early 20th century were able to naturalize, and their whiteness was rarely contested by the courts, though we know they suffered periods of acute discrimination. Meanwhile, it was very difficult for immigrants from across Asia to naturalize. This included not only Indian immigrants, but also Syrians, Afghans, and Armenians, who nevertheless still applied for and sometimes won citizenship. How?
Dude, how bad does your situation have to be in those times to want to go to the United States? Like, you really have to think about that. How bad does your situation have to be for you to want to go to the United States? Because going to the United States was just putting your difficulty on nightmare mode. Like, you have no ops where you're at, and now all of a sudden, all these people hate you for just being in the same area as them. You entered a different server, and everyone's like, they're using hacks and like debuffing you, bruh. It's insane.
Well, not all judges agreed on what made someone white or white enough, but appearances mattered. According to legal historian Harvey Dillon, embracing Western dress, hairstyles, and English in U.S. courts fostered a sense of visual whiteness and upper-class decorum that was required of those proximate to whiteness to naturalize as U.S. citizens. In 1917, the same year Indians were barred from immigrating, Tin submitted his declaration of intention to naturalize to a county clerk in Oregon State and wrote in his color as white. Tin hoped to join the very small group of mostly well-to-do Indian immigrants who had successfully naturalized in lower courts. While he waited for his application to be approved, Tin enlisted in the U.S. Army. Despite rampant xenophobia, the military actively recruited immigrants and non-citizens to serve.
That's insane. That's insane. You see what they do, bruh? You see how crazy that shit is? We're gonna still discriminate. You can't be a citizen, bruh. And we might burn a cross on your lawn and threaten to lynch your family. But to fight in my wars, god damn it. You're an American to me. You're gonna fight for that red, white, and blue, ain't you, buddy?
So Tin received his first certificate of U.S. citizenship while stationed at Camp Lewis in Washington State. But just 4 days later, the federal government revoked his citizenship.
Damn.
In 1919, Tin applied for
Didn't see that
citizenship a second time, but a federal agent from the Bureau of Naturalization tried to convince the court that Tin could not naturalize. However, the district judge acknowledged Tin's military service and his genuine affection for the Constitution, laws, and customs.
How much United States glaze do you have to really be on to really want to be part of the United States? Like, how much of a glaze do you have to be? Because the second they I'm already dealing with rampant discrimination in the United States Army, and now for some odd Stockholm syndrome reason, I want to be like stay here forever and then be discriminated against for longer for some reason. Like, dog, send me back.
And
Send me
privileges
back.
of this country. He also referred to a line of cases that proved Indians were white. And so, on November 18th, 1920, Tin was granted citizenship a second time. But this ruling would not stand. The Department of Justice had been tracking Tin's applications from the beginning. The government...
This is what I'm saying, bro. These people plot against your downfall. This is not like, oh, it was just difficult for you to become a citizen. They actively are trying to... They're saying, we don't want you, bruh. No, you can't be a part of the club.
Wanted to prove once and for all that Indians were not white and planned to use Tin as their test case.
Damn.
So the Department of Justice appealed the ruling and the case eventually made its way to the U.S. Supreme
Chad, that's something you don't want to be, bro. You never want to be the test. You never want to be the first subject. You're gonna get the worst.
Supreme Court. On January 11th, 1923, the Supreme Court began hearing arguments in the United States versus Bhagat Singh Thind. This would be Tin's final chance to become a citizen by proving that he was white. The Supreme Court explicitly framed the case as a test of the Naturalization Act and its intended meaning of whiteness. To prove Tin's whiteness, his lawyers built on previous naturalization cases, pulling together arguments that had convinced lower courts that Indians were white people. First, they argued that as a high caste Indian, Thind was racially pure because high caste families did not intermarry with other communities. Further, his lawyers...
Brother, you see... Oh, shit. You see the type of shit they're doing?
Purity, Thind shared a common Aryan ancestry with Europeans. And as Aryan,
you could not tell me the difference between 1919 United States and Nazi Germany. You could not tell me the difference. You could, like, the arguments was insane. The only difference is they ain't have the level of camps they had, bro. Nazi, bro, in the United States, bro, is insane. You're arguing Aryan race, the mixture of blood? What are you talking about?
Tinned was Caucasian and therefore white. The now debunked notion of a common ancestry due to a supposed Aryan invasion would later be used by the Nazis, but that is a whole other video.
What did I say? What did I say, bro?
The Supreme Court unanimously rejected all of Tinn's arguments. Ironically, they rejected the scientific racism used by Tinn's lawyers, but to equally racist ends. In the final ruling, Justice Sutherland noted that while a, quote, blonde Scandinavian and brown Hindu may have once had a common ancestor, the average man would see unmistakable and profound differences between them today.
Damn. He said, I might got glasses on, but I ain't blind, brother. I ain't blind. You're not white. I don't understand you. Get out of my country.
Tin just didn't look white enough to those 9 white men. According to the court, all Indians were definitively of Asiatic stock and therefore ineligible for U.S. citizenship.
Damn.
Period.
Damn.
The fallout from
And it makes you wonder why so many came to the United States. Why? Just to get hate on. You hate. Bro, you would have to catch me in the darkest, deepest place in the world back then before I head to the United States. Because I would never. It's the land of the free. What? Free for me to get beat up by somebody else?
trial was swift and devastating. Indians became the first group in the U.S. to have a swift period. The fallout from the trial
Going forward to a point of destiny. What do you
was
mean?
swift and devastating. Indians became the first group in the U.S. to have their citizenship revoked.
Damn.
In 1923,
Damn. He said,
in
damn.
1926, over 70 naturalized Indians were stripped of their citizenship. They found themselves in social, economic, and legal limbo along with their wives and children. This included the Bagai family. Vaishno Das Bagai emigrated with his family from Peshawar, part of modern-day Pakistan. In 1915, Bagai settled in San Francisco with his wife Gala and 3 young sons, Brij, Madan, and Ram. Bagai embraced his new life in America. He wore Western suits, spoke fluent English, and adopted Western mannerisms. He even opened a store, Bagai's Bazaar. But the Tinned ruling unraveled the life of the Bagai family, who all lost their citizenship and then their livelihood. In 1928, Vaishno tried to visit his relatives in India but was denied a U.S. passport. This was the final.
Yeah, that is sick. That is sick, bro. This is how evil the United States was, bro. This is how evil. This is unbelievable. This is not even unmistakably evil. This is unequivocally evil, bro. This is how downright despicable the United States was, right? They said, you're not going to be a citizen. You can't have anything because only citizens can own property and land. All right. But you can't leave because you need a passport. And we're not going to get you a passport because you're not a citizen. Dog. Are you? I would blow my mind out. This is why. It amazes me how much people were just. I feel like the United States did such a good propaganda piece on the American dream. It is insane. Are you joking? So you're not going to give me a passport to leave. And you're telling me even if I stay, I'm going to have to be dwelling in basically poverty, below poverty. And I can't own anything. There's no opportunity for me here. And I can't go back to my home. You're sick.
Straw for Vaishno, who took his own life in both grief and protest.
I don't see another option. I could not see another option. I literally could not perceive another way to go. Because I'm like, how can I live in this. I'm quintessentially in hell. I'm quintessentially in hell. I am stuck, like, in squalor and filth. I don't know. You'd have to, like, cross the border over to Canada, or like yeah, try to cross over. I would try, bruh. I don't know about. I would try to cross over to Canada, but losing all that shit that you built up, yeah, that would hit hard. That would hit hard, bro. I would try to cross over to Canada or Mexico and see if I can't send my ass back.
Vaishnav sent a letter to the San Francisco Examiner, which published wrenching excerpts. Quote, "Is life worth living in a gilded cage? Obstacles this way, blockades that way, and the bridges burnt behind." The Tin ruling emboldened the U.S. government to revoke citizenship from other immigrants, including Mexican.
They saw that suicide. They said, "Oh, do it to everybody." Like, are you evil? You're sick. You're evil. You're sick. No wonder you're afraid. Working this diabolically against people you don't even know, bro. You had 70 people, population of 70. You have 92 million. And you said, nah, this is too much.
Mexicans and Afghans. It also set the stage for the most comprehensive and restrictive immigration act to date, which passed Congress with overwhelming support in 1924. Tind finally received U.S. citizenship in 1935.
Why are you even fighting for this, bro? Why are you even fighting for this, dog? I would not want to live in the United States. Bro, why would you even want this? Just a group of hating ass, like, nobodies trying to block your way to success. Like, leave, bro.
A law that permitted all veterans, regardless of race, to naturalize. He earned his PhD in theology and English literature at UC Berkeley and lectured on metaphysics. Tind passed away in 1967.
I would die of a broken fucking heart, bro. I would die of a broken heart. You spent your whole life trying to become a United States citizen, and basically on your deathbed, they granted you that final request. Like as they spit on your fucking grave. You know what I'm saying? They grant you that final last request. A piece of paper that says, yeah, I guess.
During the last 2 decades of Tind's life, immigration and naturalization policies slowly changed. A series of federal laws beginning in 1946 opened immigration up to Indians once more, though these laws still maintain quotas that privilege certain countries over others. Even so, the decades that followed saw large-scale immigration from India and other Asian countries.
To this day, we still
As
have
of 2020, over 5.5 million people identified as Indian or Pakistani in the U.S. Census.
Oh, seems things hasn't changed much, has they? Like, dude, even now, bro, we still have these preferential treatments.
That same year, the city of Berkeley, California, named a street after Kala Bagai, Vaishnav's widow.
You guys are different types of assholes. I'm not even gonna hold you. We'll give you a bench, a park bench.
Almost a century after her family had been driven out. After the tragedy of Vaishnav's death, Kala persevered despite a very uncertain future. She remarried, put her 3 sons through college, and became a U.S. citizen in 1946. She dedicated herself to building community for other South Asian immigrants, hosting
wonderful.
functions for women who immigrated as restrictions loosened after 1965. By the time of Kala's death in 1983, she was affectionately known as Mother India. Race still animates our discussions around immigration. In fact, immigration persists as a top campaign issue.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Even now, we have preferential treatment, bro. Even now, bro. We got people up in cages, bro. Seems things don't change, do they? Oh, same shit, new day. That's what they said.
And our elections still feature explicitly racist rhetoric about immigrants. Legal scholar Amanda Frost estimates that over the last 2 centuries, millions of people have had their citizenship revoked. And denaturalization continues to this day, whether for small errors on applications or the actual wrongful deportation of American citizens, particularly those living near the Mexican border. As the daughter of South Asian immigrants, we constantly question what it means to be American. Balancing the desire to belong without losing one's cultural identity is a perpetual tightrope that all immigrants must navigate to this day. Bhagat Singh Thiнд's case and Vaishno Das Bagai serve as reminders of the struggles of not just South Asian immigrants, but all immigrants who exhibit courage and resilience in the face of incredible uncertainty to claim a piece of the American dream. If you want to learn more,
Yeah, that dream is a fucking nightmare if you're not the right type of person, bro. That dream is a fucking nightmare, bro. Dude, it is crazy, bro. It is crazy how so many people to this day are facing so many insurmountable odds. And we see the same shit happening, bro. We see the same shit happening. Bro, it is insane. It is truly, truly, truly insane, bro. Who, like, where's Superman when you need him?